Hi, welcome to our DenDisign webinar. We will be seeing today how to use our tools and the step-by-step from uploading STL files to their edition, then the treatment plan and the staging of the treatment, and finally publishing and production. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen in a bit. I just want to let you know that if you have any questions, please leave them on the chat. And at the end of the session of the webinar, I will be replying and responding to all your questions. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I will share my screen. Okay. Perfect. So as you know, DenDisign is a cloud-based software. We do not need to download any special apps. We do not need any special storage. We do not need any special computer or equipment to use the software. It is completely cloud-based. So I'm going to go ahead and click on dendesign.com. We can Google search also, and it will appear. And it will take you to our main page. Okay, you can book a free trial or book a demo. In this case, we're going to log in. It has already my user saved. So if it doesn't, it will redirect you to this website. Okay, you just have to fill in your username and your password and then click on sign in. Once we sign in, this is our interface, our main page where we manage our patients and cases. Okay, here on the right, we have our profile with our details and information, clinics, billing information, and configuration where we can change the language. And we can also sign out. So this is my list of patients. In this case, I'm going to be creating a new patient. So I'm going to go ahead and click on new patient. So give me one sec. I'm going to refresh. Okay, so I have to create a name. So let's say webinar, age range. I select the age range, the gender, clinic, and billing information that I filled out previously. If I haven't filled it out, I can just add a new clinic or add billing information. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And we are going to go on to selecting the type of treatment we want. We have aligners and surgery. In this case, we're going to be doing aligners. And we have two options for the design. We either have in-house, which is what we're going to be doing today, designing it ourselves, or you can request for us to design it with our orthodontists. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go and select in-house and in-house exporting, so I can export my STL files. We're going to go ahead and click next. And now I have to upload my STL files. This is mandatory. So I'm going to go ahead and click upper and lower arch. Once our STL files have loaded, we click next. I can also add photographs. In this case, I am going to be adding photographs of a patient. Perfect. We can also upload intraoral photographs. If we have them, we just upload them. In this case, I'm going to upload an X-ray also. And we can upload CBCT. This is optional. If we upload the CBCT, we will have the real integration of the roots in our treatment. Right now, I'm just going to upload an X-ray and click next. So my patient has been added, and it's going to ask me if I want to design now or design later. Go ahead and design now. And we're on to our first step, where it's just going to load the STL files so we can check that they are the correct ones. Once we know they're the correct ones, I'm going to click next and go on to the second step. I can change the language of my website, and I'll just click English and save. Okay, so we have 6 steps that we work with. The first one is the STL loading file, which is what we did previously. Then we have the STL addition that we're going to do now, teeth segmentation, axes and roots, then the treatment plan, and publishing and fabrication. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our tools. Our tools are always going to be on the right. We're going to start with the STL positioning. We always have to orient the models to the center of the midline and the occlusal plane. This is a key step for the segmentation to work correctly. If I upload my file like this, segmentation is not going to read the file correctly. So I need to orient the models and to the midline and my occlusal plane. Once that is done, I can just go on to the next tool. Before I go on to the next tool, I also want to show you that you can modify the occlusion either by using the multiplane or the table I have here. I can modify my occlusion as I want. In this case, I will not modify it. So I'm just going to go on to the smoothing brush tool. Every time you change tools, it's going to save automatically. So I can select the diameter of my brush and my brush force, and I can select any area I want to smooth out. For example, if I have some leftovers of an attachment, or I just want to smooth out something, an artifact that my scanner has scanned. Okay. Once I have everything ready, I don't want to smooth anything out. I've already smoothed out what I want. I can go ahead and go to the next step. The next step is cutting the bases and gum extrusion, giving them height. So we have 2 planes, and we can also select the arch that we're in. We're going to start with the upper. And we have 2 planes, as you can see. We have the red one and the green one. The red one is the cutting plane. This one is marks where I'm going to cut my model. And then the green one is how much height I want to add to it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to cut my model here, and then I'm going to give it more height. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click. Oh, and I can select if I want a hollow interior or a solid one. If I have a hollow interior, if I want a hollow interior, I can select the thickness of the wall. In this case, I don't want a hollow interior, so I'm just going to click compute. And there we go. My model is cut, and I have given it some extrusion, some height. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it for the lower jaw. Perfect. I'm going to cut here and give it some extrusion. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I do not want a hollow interior, so I'm just going to click on compute. And there we go. My model is cut and given some height. Perfect. We have some new features in this new version we launched today, where we will be able to remove parts of the mesh. We will also be able to inflate and deflate parts of the mesh if we want to add or remove. But you will have to stay tuned to our next webinar, where we will be explaining one by one the new features we have. Okay, so these 2 tools we will be explaining on our next webinar, but they are already available for you to use. Once I'm done with the addition of my models, I'm going to click next and go on to the next step of our process, which would be teeth segmentation. So we have 2 options, either automatic detection or manually segmentation done manually. In this case, we are going to go ahead and do automatic. It takes about 10 seconds per arch. And as you can see, it is very precise. We could modify if we see a mistake. So let's check our upper arch. Perfect. Okay, here I want to erase. So if I want to erase, I just click on Control and the left button on my mouse. So I can erase what I don't want. If I have erased too much and I want to color in, I just select the color of the tooth I want to color in, and with Shift, I can color it. Okay, for example, here, I would like to delete this. Perfect. Okay, let's go on and check our lower arch. And I will also go ahead and delete some of this. But as you can see, it is very, very precise. But it is very important we orient the models correctly for AI to work. So when I'm happy with what I have, I like what I see, I'm just going to click next and go on to our next step, which is roots and axes. And we also have two options. This step we would skip if we would upload a CBCT, so it will integrate the real roots and we wouldn't have to adjust them. So I'm going to click on automatic calculation, and it is going to measure my crowns and calculate the direction of the roots. Once it is done calculating, we may adjust them manually if there is something we would like to modify. For example, I would like to modify this one. Okay, I can look at it in all the things that I want. I would like to modify this one, for example. And this one. Perfect. I'd also like to modify this one. But as you can see, it is also very precise. Let's go to the lower jaw. I can zoom in, zoom out, and modify anything I want. For example, here. Okay, perfect. Great. So once I like what I see, let's see here. Okay, once I'm happy with what I see, with what I have, I already fixed all my roots. I'm going to click next. And we are on to the treatment plan. Okay. So I'm going to explain the tools real quick. We have here on the left side the information button where we can have a chat with our client to facilitate communication. We also have the general information of the patient data, and the clinic data. Also, whatever request the client has, we have the files that we have uploaded. If I would have uploaded intraoral pictures, they would show here. And we have the modifications. I just abandoned the process. Give me one sec. I just left. Okay, let's go here. If that happens, no problem. You can just go back into and it will save what you have. So that's actually good that it happens. So you can see that if you click back or you exit by mistake, everything you've done is saved automatically. So, and then here we have the changes, the requests that our clients for the modifications they want. Okay, so we have all the visions. We have upper arch, lower arch, both of them frontal, always to orient the models back to the middle. We have upper view, lower view, lateral. Okay, let me go ahead and change my language real quick because I'm Spanish and now it's English. So we've completed the first 4 steps. We're in the 5th one. I'm going to show you now. Here is our timeline and our controls to go through the timeline. We also have on the right, we have our occlusogram, which is in real time. Every time we make a movement, the occlusogram is going to show you what contacts are being generated. We can also see and hide the IPR, interdental distances, attachments when we have them, but I will show you this once we've started planning. We have our evolution panel, which I will also show you when we have some movements because you will be able to stage your treatment in the evolution panel. We have our movement table where we will be able to see how much movement we've done in each tooth, step by step, meaning how much movement I have in each aligner, the accumulated movement from one step to another, and the total movement in the whole treatment. We also have a really good tool, the Bolton table. It will calculate and it will show you the mesial-distal distances of each tooth. And it would also give you the ratio from 3 to 3 or from 6 to 6. Perfect. We have our movement table, which is how we're going to be moving our teeth, or one of the ways we're going to be moving them. And then we have IPR attachments, tags, context that I will be showing you once we've designed some of our kits. So in this case, I will only be showing partially how to design so we don't make this webinar too long. So for example, I have selected with controls various teeth. So let's say I want to move them all at the same time to save some time. So if I want to be correcting this class 2, I can just select them all and distalize, okay? Now, if I want to, for example, expand, I can go to my multiplane. I usually use the movement table for more precise movements because I can go 0.1 to 0.1 millimeters. But if I want to save some time also or do bigger movements, I can go ahead and use my multiplane. Okay. Let's go ahead and it's here. Also, I want to show you a very, very useful tool. I always have it on when I'm designing the interdental distances table. Okay. This is going to show me where I have collisions. For example, here I have a collision of minus 0.2. So that is going to generate an IPR at the end of the treatment. So if I want to remove those collisions, I can just modify my position or my staging. Okay. In this case, I don't want any collisions, so I'm going to delete that. And now here, okay, make that 0.1. I don't want any early IPR in my treatment. So for example, I can do all the movements. I can give torque, I can give tip, I can give intrusion, extrusion, I can give mesial in, mesial out, all the movements I want. Tip here and give it some extrusion. I have a little collision there, so I want to remove that. Okay, so let's say I am happy with what I have. I like what I see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and calculate my steps in between my initial position and this new position that I have designed or planned. Okay, so I'm going to click on 0, Control 1. and automatic step calculation. So it is going to calculate all the aligners I need to reach that final position I want. So I'm going to go to my evolution panel, and now I'm going to stage my treatment. Okay. I can add more steps because I know that if I'm distalizing, I do not want everything to move at the same time. So let's see. I want tooth 17 to move first. Then I want tooth 16 to move after. Then 15, 14, and 13, for example. Okay, if I'm short of steps, I can definitely add more steps to the treatment. Okay, great. So let's see how this looks. Perfect. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up. If I want to, for example, do my anterior sector, I can just start moving. And my last step, I added a step because I was short on aligners. So let's say I am not taking that much time, so I don't take up your time. Of course, I would be more careful and more precise if I were a real case. Okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead. You see, for bigger movements, I always use the multiplane. Okay, perfect. And let's put this in. Okay, nice. Great. Okay, let's say this is what I want. From here, I'll just calculate from my last step to my new step. I'll just calculate the steps in between. Okay. And if I want to stage these two, I could do it with no problem. For example, I want my 22 to move first, then my 12 to move first, then my 11, then my 21 and 22 and 23. So let's see how this looks. See how this staging looks. Let's see if I have any collisions during the treatment. None. Okay, I have that one minus one there, but no problem. So once I have staged my treatment, either doing key steps or moving around in the evolution panel, after I'm done with that, I'm going to calculate my IPR. Okay, so I only have 0.1 here. Okay, I can move it. For example, if I want to do this IPR in the beginning of the treatment, I can move my IPR to whatever stage I want. I can always move it backwards. I could never move it forward in a more forward position than it was, because then the movement wouldn't be able to generate. So for example, I wanted to do it on aligner 1, so I don't have to worry about IPR for the rest of the treatment. I can totally do that. Another thing I want to show you is extractions. For example, let's say I had a third molar, an 18, and I wanted to extract to do my distalization. I'm just going to go ahead and select another 2 just to demonstrate. I just click with the right button and I can click remove. All in extracting all the steps or the current step till the end. I'm extracting all, and during all my treatment, I virtually extracted my tooth. If I want to put it back in, I want to include it again in the treatment, I can. So no worries. If you removed it by mistake, we can add it again in the whole treatment or whenever you want. Perfect. So we've seen the staging, we've seen the movements. Oh, I want to show you real quick the occlusogram so you can see it's in real time. Okay. Every time we make a movement, it's going to show us what contacts it is generating. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and go on to our attachments. Okay, so we have two options for the attachments. We can either place them manually. I can place the attachment manually and all the steps, the current step, from this step to the beginning, from this step to the end. I can also modify the size. I can modify the width, and I can modify the thickness of my attachment. Okay, I can also, if I clicked on all the steps, but I want my attachments to start on step 3, with the right click on my mouse, I can just select on which step I want it to begin and which step I want it to end in. Okay, so we can place them manually, and we can also do the automatic calculation of these attachments. So depending on the movements I have for each tooth, the software is going to calculate the attachments. So these can be modified if there's something that I want to change. The system calculates it, but you have the total control of the size, thickness, step you want your attachments in. Okay, if I want to change it, for example, I can just click on any attachment and change it. Okay, I can modify the size. If I don't like position, I can just modify my attachment to whatever size I want. Okay. We can also add, for example, let me turn off Usogram. We can also add, for example, ramps. I have to select the tooth, and we have turbo bites, anterior ramps. Okay, and we can also modify the size, the thickness, what aligner I want it on, what step I want it on. Okay, we can also do, for example, the next one. And we can put as many as we want and modify it. Okay, then select the thickness here, for example, if I want to modify. Great. We also have negative attachments. So if I want to plan some intrusion, I can have some negative pressure points. I can have pressure points and put them wherever I want and in the step that I want. Let's go ahead and look at our cutouts for our tags. Okay, we can select our tooth and we can add our cutout, and all the steps current to last or current to initial step. I'm going to add it all. I can place it wherever I want, buccally, lingually. I can modify the size, the thickness. Okay, I can rotate, put it wherever I want. Let's say that's a cutout I want for my button. And if I wanted to combine a cutout and an attachment at the same time, the good thing is I can modify sizes and placement in each tooth. So if I wanted to add, for example, a cutout here, okay, I can just modify it and make it fit on my tooth. So for example, I would like to put this attachment more, I can put it horizontally instead of vertical. Okay. So we've seen attachments, we've seen tags. Let me go ahead and show you what I wanted to show you. Take off IPR so we can have a better view. I wanted to show you the, evolution panel we've already seen and we've moved around. I wanted to show you the movements table, okay? Which is very important. If I click step and I click on any step, it will show me how much movement I have in every aligner in every tooth. Okay, we also have this information here. So you can see which icon is extrusion, intrusion, translation. Okay, we can see the accumulated from step 0 to step 6, for example, 7, 8, and while we're changing, we are going to see the accumulation of the movement changing. And we also can see the total of the movement in the whole treatment. This one will not change because it is the total movement of the whole treatment. Okay, so we can also go at that end to the beginning. We can see how much movement we can overlap. Okay, and see how much movement step by step we have done. Okay, this is also a very interesting tool. Okay, great. Oh, there's one thing I did not show you. The grid. Okay, we have our grid, which is very good for leveling. As you can see, it gives us like an extended vision of our occlusal plane, so we can have a good view and level everything we have a new feature, which is the Pontics. We will be talking about these in our next webinar, where I will be introducing all the new tools and showing you how to use them. So you'll have to stay tuned for next webinar so we can show you the new tools. Okay, so once I have staged my treatment, I have the attachments I want. I will check everything is correct. Perfect. And I will go on to my last step, which is publishing and production. So I'm going to go ahead and go next. Continue. Perfect. So here in publishing and production, we have the same tools. We can use the occlusogram, interdental distances. We can see the panels, and we have the labeling. Okay, if I want to label each of my aligners, I can click on the tooth where I want to label it, and I can decide what steps I want to label it. So I'm going to click on all the steps. Okay, I can move this around. It's gonna number my aligners. I can also change the size, and place them wherever I want. So as I go on the treatment, okay, it's gonna label each of my aligners. Okay, perfect. The next tool we have, this is a very useful one that I also want to show you, the blockers. Okay, the blockers are going to appear automatically if I add them every time I have a bigger space than 0.6 millimeters. So if I am distalizing, it's going to appear, okay, and then disappear once we have less space. So the good thing is I can modify my blockers also. Okay, I can make them, for example, the position, I can make them thicker, I can move them. Okay, for example, if I want to make them thicker, I could. Okay, so let's see the next one. I want to modify this one too. Let's look like this. I want to modify the size and make it thicker. Okay, let's see, there's one here. We have a big space here coming up. This one. Okay, if I don't like the placement, I can modify it with no problem. Placement, this one too, for example. Okay, and I can make it thicker if I want. If there is a space that has less than 0.6, but I still want to add a blocker, I could. Okay, I just click with my right button and add a blocker in all the steps in this step. Okay, and I can modify that one too. I can add them and remove them whenever or wherever I want. And Last but not least, we have our fixture tool where we will be able to enable the fixture of our printer. If you have a special fixture, that we can upload it and personalize this so you can have the fixture you need incorporated into the software. We can rotate, we can move around, okay? And also we add the base, okay? With the base, I can see where my fixture is, if my model is on my base, if I am not going to have any trouble printing, okay? So these are our tools. Once I'm happy with what I have my fixture, my blockers, I have my attachments and my staging. Everything is okay. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to save and I'm going to download my STLs. So I'm saving my changes. So to download STLs, it's with this icon right here. As we can see, it is not habilitated yet because I have to select what aligners I want to print. It is not 100%. It is not necessary to print out the whole treatment. We can just print out the aligners we want. So in this case, I will be selecting, for example, aligner 1 to aligner 3. Okay. And now you see I am able to download the STL files. I'm going to go ahead and download. Perfect. It has downloaded and I just go into my download section and I will be able to see all the files with it. Okay, here we go. This is what we are going to be printing out. Perfect. So let's go ahead and close that. And that would be what we would see in our software. I also wanted to show you the client view. Okay, I will go ahead and go into our, this is our website. Okay, so if I want to click on any patient, this is what your clients would see. Okay, it's gonna load and this is what they are going to see. Okay, they have the IPR and they have the tools here. This can be personalized with your logo, your colors, and this will be linked to your website. So the clients can use your website and then just it will redirect them to DenDisign. Okay. So they have all the tools, the occlusogram, IPR, attachments, they have everything. They have all the panels and they will go through the treatment. Okay. They have 3 options. They can accept the treatment plan, ask for a modification, or decline the treatment plan. Okay. If they ask for a modification, they can either write it down, whatever they want to modify from the treatment plan, or do it themselves with the 3D controls, okay? They can change the final position, okay? We can habilitate this for any of your clients, or if you don't want them to be able to modify this, then we can not habilitate it for you. Also, if your clients want to activate the same tools that we have, then they just click expert mode and it will habilitate all the tools that we have. They will be able to modify the staging and everything. But as I said, this can be for whatever clients you want. And if you don't want them to have this access, they don't have the access. Okay. I also wanted to show you, lastly, some simulations, okay, of what this would look like if we integrated your colors and your logo. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, show you that your name will appear here, the case number, and then your logo or the clinic's logo or your client's logo. Okay, we can change the colors, the logos to whatever you need. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our webinar. Stay tuned. We will have next week another webinar introducing all these new tools that I talked about today, that I said you will have to wait a bit to find out. So they are available in the software. So if you are a client of DenDisign, you are free to use them from today. But next week, I will be showing you how to use each one. So I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and thank you very much.